Hi everyone, welcome to channel Qtomation. In previous session, we have seen overview of framework structure. We have seen what are the different components which we have to add in our framework. In today's session, we will see creating a folder structure and adding dependencies in pom.xml file. So let's start. So first is we have to create a new project in our Eclipse. So let's go to Eclipse and we will start with new project creation. Step 1 is create a new project. We have to create a Maven project and not the Java project because our entire framework is going to be built on Maven framework. So you can select other, you can select Maven project, click on next. You can select create a simple project and we can skip archetype selection. Archetype is nothing but some templates which Maven provides, but we don't want to use those. So I will just select create a simple project and then we can simply click on next. Here we have to provide group ID and artifact ID. So what is group ID and artifact ID? So for what we have done, so in step 1 we have to create a new Maven project. Then it is asking us group ID, artifact ID. Group ID is nothing but your company or domain name, and artifact ID you can provide anything around your project. So what I will do, I will just go to Eclipse. Let me just name it group ID as API underscore automation underscore framework, and artifact ID I will also provide the similar one. So I am just providing the same artifact ID and group ID. Version is 0.0.1 snapshot, and you can simply click on finish. So once you click on finish option, you can see our project is created. API automation framework project is created. Once you open this project, this is a Maven project. Maven project contains, as soon as you create your project, it will contain some directories. For example, src main java, src main resources, src test java, and src test resources. So our project is going to be placed in these 4 folders. Let's understand what are the meaning of these folders and which packages or which folders we have to create in these 4 directories. We also have pom.xml file. In the pom.xml file, we have to add dependencies. So whatever dependencies, that is the jar files which we require in our project, those can be added as a dependencies in the pom.xml file. It will automatically download and import those jars in our project. It is a dependency management tool. So first, let's understand on a high level what is this main Java, main resources, test Java and test resources folders. So far what we have done in step 1, we have created a new Maven project. We have provided the details. Then there is src main Java folder. So what is this src main Java folder? So this folder in Maven project is specifically intended for main application source code. So whatever application developers are building, or let's say whatever test framework automation testers are building, they will have some source code. They will have some main application source code which holds all the business logic. All those code needs to be placed in main Java folder. Just to remind you that test cases will not be present in main Java folder. Test cases will be separately written, and overall business logic, overall logic which is required for that test case execution will be written in Java folder, src main Java folder. It is the standard directory where all the Java classes and packages for your main code are placed. So whatever test cases we are going to write, for those test cases, whatever core Java classes and packages we require, that will be placed inside main Java folder. For example, when we will create the classes, if you see the overall structure, whatever classes we are going to create, for example, POJOs, or let's say utilities, or let's say configuration related files, all the main, for example, base class, Pojo classes, config file related classes, those classes we will create in the main Java folder. They will be compiled and included when you build project's executable or deployable artifact. And src main Java folder will not contain actual test cases. It will not hold actual test cases code. Actual test cases will be written in test Java folder. If you see, main Java folder will contain the core logic and test Java folder will contain actual test cases. So POJOs etc. will be present in our main Java folder. Test cases will be present in test Java folder. But for base components, config classes, POJOs, utilities, service implementation, that will be required to actually write the test cases that will be present in the main Java folder. So whatever logic which we require, for example, user CRUD service, or let's say base test, POJOs, utilities, all these files which holds the core logic which is required to develop the test cases will be placed in main Java folder. So Maven and most build tools, so Maven is a build tool. It will automatically recognize and it compile files from src main Java folder during build process. So in coming sessions we will see how to build. In that session we will see basically Maven project will have src main Java folder and it will automatically recognize and compile those files. So if I want to conclude, what is the exact purpose of src main Java folder? It is for your main reusable source code and framework structure, ensuring clear separation of test cases with other resources. So all the core logic will be placed in main Java folder. After main Java folder, if you see, there is main resources folder. Now what is this main resources folder? This will be used and it will contain the resources which requires for main Java classes. So src main resources folder in Maven project is used for placing non-source code resources that your main application need for execution. For example, it can store the files such as property files, XML files, YAML files, JSON data, images, or any other resources that your code will read at runtime. Whatever resource we will place in this will be automatically included in the class path when your project is built and packaged. So with context of our project, for example log4j, for log4j we will need one XML file. That XML file will be placed inside resources folder for main folder, src main resources. Similarly, property files that can be also placed in src main resources. So it will keep your configuration and static resources organized and separate from Java source code. So what we have understood so far, src main Java will contain all the business logic, core logic which required to develop the test cases, and whatever resources are required for that core logic will be placed inside main resources folder. In src test Java, another folder is src test Java. This will contain actual test classes. So actual test classes will be present inside test Java folder. So Java folder inside the test will actually contain your test class files. It will contain all the Java classes that implement unit test, integration test, and API test like your REST assured test cases. So whatever we are developing in REST assured, those test cases will be present inside SRC test Java folder. Similarly, if you are using API testing or let's say UI testing, or sometimes developer creates unit test as well for their project inside SRC test Java folder. Code which is placed here is not included in the final production build, but it is compiled and run during the testing phase. This is especially for developers. It will help keeping the test logic separated from actual business core logic code. With the context of our test automation, basically all the core logic, API logic will be placed in main Java folder, and by using that logic, we will create test class files, and that will be placed inside the test Java folder. But this is a generic usage of SRC test Java, SRC main Java, SRC main resources, and SRC test resources. Now SRC test resources folder. Fourth one is SRC test resources folder. As the name suggests, it will contain the resources which are required for test files. So whatever test data, for example, data driven testing requires some Excel datasheet or CSV file or mock files. So all those test resources files will be placed inside this directory. All resources which are included in the class path during test runs but not production builds. This is again developer specific, but with our context of our framework, we will place data driven Excel files in SRC test resources. And main purpose is to keep the data and configuration used for automated testing organized and separate from main application resource. Let me just increase the size a bit. So these are the high level usage of folder structure. So for default folder structure, when we create any new Maven project, you will get this 4 default project structure directories. So on high level, main test classes file will be present inside test Java. Whatever resources are required for those test files will be placed inside test resources folder. Main core logic or API test cases business logic will be placed inside main Java folder, and whatever resources are required for that logic will be placed inside this resources folder. And we have pom.xml which will hold all the dependencies. So I hope you understood these 4 default folder directories in Maven project. But now on top of those we will place one by one depending on our project. So if you see, this is the project framework structure. Now which component goes to which folder, that I will show you. So let me just close this one. Yeah, so here if you see, we have to create now folder structure. So this is the folder structure we will follow. So in main Java, we will create packages. These are basically packages. So one by one we will create packages now. So let's go to Eclipse. Let's create one more package inside the main Java folder. What are the packages we are going to create? First one is com.api.base, com.api.config, com.api.pojo, which will hold the pojo classes. com.api.config will contain configuration file related classes. com.api.base will contain our base test class. Similarly, com.api.services, com.api.util. So these are the packages which we have to create. So I will just create all the folders first, and in coming session we will see how to add different files one by one. So first let's create the basic structure of folders. So first let's create first package. Right click here, src main Java, new package. I am just naming it as com.api.base. api dot base package. So first one is base package which we are creating. Let me just click on finish. So first package created. After base, which are the packages? Config and Pojo. Let's create those packages as well inside the src main Java. New package, again I will name it as com.api.pojo. One more package I will create, com.api.services package. What are the other ones? So we have created services, Pojo, config we have to create, and utils. So let's create those packages as well. New package com.api.utils package, and one more package we have to create, that is com.config package, api.config. So that is the package names which we have provided. So we have created this for 5 packages inside src main Java folder. Files which we are going to add in these packages, that I will show you in coming sessions, but just let's create initial folder structure. Now the next folders. So we have created the base packages, config package, Pojo, services and utils. In main resources, we will add some files that I will show you in coming sessions. We will create one more package inside src test Java folder, that is com.api.tests. It will contain the actual test classes. So let's create that package as well. Inside this src test Java, let's create a new package and name it as com.api.tests. So it will actually contain the test classes. So we have created this com.api.tests. Inside the test resources package, we can create one folder and name it as test data, which will hold the Excel sheet or CSV sheet for data driven testing. So I'm just creating new folder. Let's create a new folder, naming it as test data. We can add Excel sheet in this test data folder. Similarly, we will need reports as well. So for report also we can create one folder. So I will create one reports folder, and that reports folder will be on project level. So I will just right click on this project, new folder. I will name it as reports. So this will contain all the reports which we require after test execution. So we have created these packages here. In test.java we have created test package. Inside test resources we have created test data folder, and in this main project we have created one reports folder. We can also add logs folder as well. So for logging purpose, we can create one logs folder which will contain all the logs which are required. So let me just create one more folder here. Let's create new folder. I will name it as logs. So it will store all the logs after test execution. How to configure those, that we will see in coming sessions, but just understand. So this is the project structure which we have created. If you see our architecture of overall project, so let me just show you. So different component are there. So for those we have created one initial project structure. So that is the project structure which we have to create, and we have already created it. Now the next thing, this was a step 1 so far which we have done. Now let's move to step 2. Step 2 is adding dependencies in pom.xml file. So we have created a Maven project. We have created a folder structure. We have added different folders and packages in our project. But now we have to add some dependencies in pom.xml. So what is pom.xml? That is a dependency management tool. So whatever things our project require, whatever libraries our project requires, All those libraries we can import by using pom.xml. It will automatically download and install those libraries, but we just have to provide the dependencies here. So from where we can get all the dependencies. But first let's understand what are the things which we have to add. So these are the initial things which we have to add in our pom.xml. These are the initial things which we have to add. These are the dependencies which we have to add. We can visit this mavenrepository.com. So once you go to this website, Maven repository website, from this Maven repository website, we can easily get all the dependencies one by one. So for my project, initially I need REST assured dependencies, JSON parser, testng, extend report, Apache POI for Excel, logging, log4j, and Jackson data bind. So what are the purposes that I will explain in coming sessions? But just understand these are basically things, or we can call it as a jar files which we require in our project. Each jar file contains some specific purpose. For example, since we are going to use REST assured, so we need REST assured library. We need JSON parsing. For that we will use this JSON parser library. For testng annotation we can use testng library. So for that purpose we have to import all these dependencies in our pom.xml. So let's go to this Maven repository. The first one is REST assured. So I will just simply search for REST assured. So if you see, after searching, I can see some results. So from those results, we have to select the first one. Let's select this one. Let's select the latest version. And if you see, this is the dependency which we have to copy. So let's copy this one. So now I have copied this dependency. And let's go to our project. This is a project pom.xml. In this, we have to add that dependency inside the dependencies tag. So first, let's create dependencies tag. This is the open dependency and this is the close dependencies. And whatever dependency we have to add, we have to mention inside these tags. So first one is REST assured. So this is the I am copied from Maven repository. I am just pasted this dependency inside this dependencies tag. So this is our first dependency. Similarly, let's add some others as well. So first one we have added. Next one is JSON parser. So let's add that dependency also. For JSON parser, so let's go to Maven repository again, and here let's search for JSON parser org JSON. You can simply search like this, and if you see, this is the first one, that is org.json from JSON. So let's open it. Let's select the latest version, and if you see, this is the dependency which we have to copy. So let's copy this, and again similarly, let's add this in our dependencies tag. So this is the second dependency which we have added. Now the third one. Third one is testng. So let's search for testng dependency. Testng. So this is the org.testng. From this we have to copy that dependency for testng. So let's visit this one. Let's select the latest version only, and let's copy this. Let's go to Eclipse code. Again paste it here. That is the third dependency which we have added. Similarly, we have to add for next one. What is the next one? For extend report. So let's go to Maven repo for extend reports. Let's search it. If you see, com.event stack. Let's use this one. If you see the version 5.1.2, let's copy this one. Let's go to Eclipse code pom.xml and let's add this dependency as well. Now the next one, Apache POI for Excel. So let's add Apache POI for Excel. So we have to select this second one. I'm just using the latest version of this second one. Let's copy this. Let's go to our project. Let's add that dependency here. Now the next one, logging dependency, that is for log4j. So for log4j, so let's go to Maven repo. Let's search for log4j. If you see, there is Apache log4j core library. I am skipping the beta version. I am taking some older version before the beta one. So let's select this one. I'm just copying this log4j core library. Let's go to and let's paste it in our pom.xml. And along with this, we have to copy one more dependency, that is for log4j API. So let's use this first one. Again, let's select the latest one. You can skip the beta version because sometimes it might have some issues. So I'm just selecting previous version. So let's copy this one. Let's use pom.xml, paste it here. So far we have added for log4j also. The last one is Jackson data bind. So let's go to Maven repo, Jackson data bind. What is the purpose of this? I will explain in our coming session. But let's copy this one from faster.xml, com.fasterxml.jackson.core. Let's use this one, latest one. Let's copy this and I'm just adding this in our pom.xml file. Let's paste it here, Control V. So all the dependencies which you have added in our pom.xml. If you want to quickly format this file, you can simply select Control A and Control Shift F. It will properly format the file. So now if you see in our pom.xml, we have added dependencies tag, dependencies multiple and close dependencies. And inside that we have added individual dependency, whatever we require in our project. Now after adding all the dependencies in our pom.xml, we should always update the Maven project. We should always update the Maven project. So let's right click on our main project, select the option Maven, Maven update project, and you can select force update of snapshot releases. So sometimes it might not automatically update all the things. So we have to select force update. Click on OK and it will download all those jar files in your project. If you see, it is updating the Maven project now. 25% completed. In 1-2 minutes it will basically it's completed now. If you see, it is downloading some of the sources and it will complete overall build process. So this is the step 2 which we have to do. So that is also completed. So what we have done so far in today's session, we have created a new Maven project. We have provided group ID, artifact ID. We have clicked on finish. Then basic Maven project structure got created, which included src main Java, src main resources, src test java and src test resources folders. Inside those folders we have created different packages. So in main Java, we have created base package, com.api.config package, com.api.pojo package, com.api.services package, com.api.utils package. And inside src test Java, which contains actual test classes, we have created one package, that is com.api.tests. We have created test data folder in resources folder. We have created one reports folder in main project and logs folder also in main project. Logs will contain log files, reports will contain report files. So that is the folder structure which we have created. In step 2, we have added dependencies in our pom.xml. So all those different dependencies which we require in our project, those we have added in pom.xml file. And then we updated the Maven project. So it will automatically bring all the jar files in our project. So this is the step 1 and step 2 which we have completed in this session. In the next session, we will see one by one how we can start with actual development. So in the next session onwards, we will actually start creating different files and we will perform all the activities one by one. So far we have created folder structure, added pom.xml, added dependencies. Now we are actually ready for writing the test code. First we will create all the base code, then slowly we will add all the test files as well. So let's meet in our next session for next steps. I hope you like this video. Kindly like, share and subscribe to my channel because it always motivates me. Thanks again.